Sam Goldberg sat down with men's basketball center Brandon Stone to discuss their season thus far. And CORSON HEALEY garners a preseason award. Don't get tangled up with Omicron because it's time for another episode of CSC.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Colonial Sports Center. Tyler Gallo as always alongside Colby Sherwin. And Colby, as we always do, we have a lot of sports for everybody tonight, don't we?
That's right, but a lot of the focus is on basketball tonight. The women's basketball team played the Penguins. Were they able to freeze them of Youngstown State? We got to find out.
That's right. Megan Callahan made her return to the UPMC Event Center, and the Colonials nearly spoiled that. We'll see how they fared in this game tonight. And unfortunately, it was one heck of a game, but the Colonials did not come out on top. They fell 59-57 to the #1 ranked Youngstown State. And by the way, Megan Callahan hit a three with 0.9 seconds left to put the Penguins in front of the Colonials for good, and that is your final score. A good game for Esther Castillo, and Natalie Villaflor, not shown there, had 12 points off the bench. She played really well tonight, but unfortunately the Colonials did not get that win.
Yeah, definitely a close game, but heading over to men's basketball now. After a long losing streak, the men's basketball team was looking to right the ship against Wright State. Were they able to? Let's hit the hardwood and find out. All right, 4-4 here. Enoch Cheeks looking around. Cam Ferris, who had a deep three, bang! And Colonials take the lead, 7-4. Moving on now, we got a quick pass here to CJ Wilbon, bang! And the Raiders take the lead now. Going back the other way. Paul going around here, wild play. Look at Cam Ferris here. He's going to hit a deep three again, 14-11. We'll show you the replay. Cam Ferris with the nice play here. You're going to hear his name a lot in this highlight. There's a three now. Wright State looking around, and boom, a dunk. And they're going to make it 25-27. Back to the Raiders, moving around again. Here's a three, and it's 32-29, the Raiders. Look at this play. Nice pass to Colonial Spirit. He'll play downhill, go to the rim, 37-35. Let's go to the second half now. Raiders moving around here. Cross-court pass, three, and the Raiders continue to extend their lead, but the Colonials will not go back away. Look how deep of a three this was, and the Colonials are not backing away here. 63-56, Cam Ferris, what a night. Cam Ferris with some iso ball here, looking like James Harden, who hit another three, 65-all. We're going down the stretch here. The Raiders are not going to back away, 71-67, and now it's a one-point game. Colonials looking to take the lead, 73-71. Enoch Cheese with the pass. It goes out of bounds, and that's going to be how the game ends. 75-73. The Raiders raid the UPMC Event Center and beat the Colonials.
Now, it's certainly been some rough seas for the Colonials going forward as they lost 6 games by less than 10 points. Could the Colonials conquer these rough seas against the Northern Kentucky Norse as they came to town to wrap up the homestand? Let's take it to the highlights from that game. So start things off here in the first half. Great ball movement to start things out. Here's Ferris, right down the middle of the Mares, inside to Green, outside to Spear, and a slam right there. Khalil Spear raises the roof like he so often does there. He would have a good game, but we'll take it out here. Cam Ferris, a pump fake. We saw that in the last highlight. He does it again and hits it from outside. What a shot that one was. And he, again, just one of the better shooters on the team. Now we're going to kick it back out to Trey Robinson, gets the shot, and look at this friendly bounce here. Shades of Kawhi Leonard in the 2019 Eastern Conference quarterfinals as he hits that one to get the Northern Kentucky back in. Now we're going to get to the second half here. As we got it, Sam Vincent's going to kick it out to Marquez Work. You cannot leave him open like this. Look at this right here. Bang from way outside. He nails it, makes it a 4-point game. And, you know, like I said, you can't leave Marquez Work open. Well, here he is again. He's not open, but he gets inside. Look how talented this guy is. Gets it in there. Northern Kentucky not going away in this one. And then we have it here inside. Khalil Spear puts Trey Robinson on a poster. He is fired up, and so is the arena. What a slam that one. Should have been on Sports Center Top 10, but it wasn't. And inside, the easy bucket for Jerron Williams. As you take a look there, we're going to take it, and once again, sundown, you better take care, Northern Kentucky. We'll send it over to Andy Toole and Khalil Spear for the post-game sound.
Obviously, just really, really happy for the guys and the way that they performed tonight. Finally kind of getting over the hump there. You know, again, it's never easy. I mean, everybody we're playing against is well-coached, well-prepared, talented group. And I thought, you know, we did a lot of good things, especially down the stretch of that game. You know, came up with some big stops, came up with some big rebounds, scrapped out some hustle plays, you know, and we're able to finish off with some really nice passes and some unselfish basketball. So really proud of the guys. They're obviously excited. You know, it's been a while coming, and we've been continuing to talk to them about, like, continuing to try to do the right stuff, playing a little more mistake-free. And I thought for, you know, large majorities of the game tonight, I thought we did that, and, you know, it was great to see.
We're all happy because See, our past few games, we've been playing the top teams in the conference, losing by 2-3 points, one possession games. So to finally get over that hump, it felt good today. And I feel like us losing those close games had us more on edge at the end of this game to want to finish it. So we're using our past experiences to move on. We all feel positive momentum moving through our practices and through our games. We've seen a lot of improvement as the year has gone on. And as long as we keep building, we know we're going to be in a good position whenever the tournament comes around.
Now we're going to keep it with basketball, and I have two of Colonial Sports Center's biggest basketball analysts, Michael Deemer and Bethany Nunn, with me to talk about the men's and women's basketball season so far. Guys, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having us.
So, Michael, I'm going to start with you, and then I'll work over to Bethany. What has been the biggest strength of the men's basketball team so far?
I'm going to say the resiliency, and they've had very close games so far in this season, especially as of late. They've had a combined point differential of -3 in their last 5 home games and -13 in their first 4, but all of them were losses. But if they're going to stay in close games like this, eventually they'll get a win. They did exactly that against Northern Kentucky on Saturday.
And Bethany, same question to you. What has been the biggest strength of the women's basketball team so far?
I would definitely have to say the defense. They've showed time after time that they can shut down teams with their defense, preventing them from scoring. Main reason this happening was Asha Klockenstein. She has 50 defensive rebounds, 17 steals, 7 blocks, and Esther Castillo with 43 defensive rebounds, 21 steals, 3 blocks. So Castro with 49 defensive rebounds, 11 steals, 7 blocks, and finally Simone Morris with 19 defensive rebounds, 4 steals, and 5 blocks.
Now, we were talking about the bright spot of the season so far, but now the teams aren't performing as we hoped, so we will have to take a little bit of a negative part. Which player has been the biggest disappointment to you? Bethany, let's start with the women's team.
I actually have 2. Asha Klockenstein and Mackenzie Amelia. From the previous game against the University of Illinois Chicago, she just couldn't keep the ball in her hands and kept on dropping it left to right, which played a huge impact on the Colonials' performance, which, And then Mackenzie Amelia hasn't really been a big factor in the game. She has a total of 12 points, but hasn't really has much impact as a player. But as the season goes on, there will be improvement, I think.
Definitely will be improvement, and I agree with you. We heard a lot about Amelia before the season, not so much during the year, but maybe as the season goes on. And Michael, same question to you, but how about the men's team?
I'm going to say Justin Winston. I don't think he stands out as the biggest disappointment, but I think he was supposed to be the breakout starter at the 3, but he hasn't played to his standards. He has 8.5 points per game, 2.5 rebounds per game, and most importantly, in just 15 games, he's had almost what he had in 33 games at St. Bonaventure with the amount of turnovers he's had. So he's been turning the ball over a lot. It's been very careless with the ball as of late.
Now, quickly from both of you, how do the coaches adjust for both these teams to start winning? Michael?
I'm going to say turn over the ball less. Like I just said, it's very a big part of the game. They have the 72nd most turnovers in the country, which obviously you don't want. They had 12 against Purdue Fort Wayne, 19 versus Cleveland State, and 15 against Youngstown State, and they were all single-digit games. If you have less turnovers, then you're going to probably win those games.
Bethany?
Definitely Coach Sutter needs to start doing a better rotation with giving the starters more time to get a rest, because obviously that plays a huge impact because the starters are starting to get tired offensively, so we're not scoring as many points. So, yeah.
Well, Michael and Bethany, thank you both for joining me. But when we come back, we have a rock-solid interview for you with Brandon Stone and still that live hit from the UPMC Event Center. Stay with us on Colonial Sports Center.
When I first saw Turtle, my heart was full. Now anything but lonely.
We have this deep connection, this heart connection.
He just wants to be close to you and part of your life.
Every day with Turtle is a perfect day.
When I'm holding her, it makes me feel calmer.
I think everything he does shows how much he loves us.
When we adopt a shelter pet, we discover they're a little bit of a lot of things.
But they're all pure love.
If I could go back and change it all, I would. I think I'm gonna miss you the most. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Maybe it's just the little moments. If I could go back and change it all, if I could go back, I would. But I can't.
There was an old woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children, she didn't know what to do. She gave them some broth without any bread and kissed them all soundly and put them to bed. Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org.
And we're back here on Colonial Sports Center, but first, let's toss it over to our resident John Rothstein, who's in the UPMC Event Center. Ethan Morrison is going to break down the women's basketball game tonight. Ethan Morrison, take it away.
Thank you, guys. Now, tonight was the second meeting between Robert Morris and Youngstown State in the season series, and it served as a homecoming game for two of the Penguins players, as Maddie Burbach and Megan Callahan both returned to the UPMC Event Center tonight. And as you know, Megan Callahan spent the prior 4 seasons with Robert Morris before transferring to Youngstown State before the beginning of the year. Now, tonight's game was an instant classic as Youngstown State defeated Robert Morris 59-58, and Megan Callahan, none other than her, hit the game-winning shot for the Penguins to put the Penguins over the Colonials. Now, for the Colonials, they've had one of their better offensive nights as 3 players reached double figures in this game as Natalie Villaflor, Esther Casido, Simone Morris, and Asia Klopfenstein all had 12 points in the 1-point loss. And guys, for Robert Morris, if they will have to have a memory as like a goldfish as they head to the Youngstown State for their 3rd meeting of the season on Saturday. And if these past 2 games had any indication of how the 3rd one will shape out, it will be a good ball game. Guys, back to you.
Thank you so much, Ethan, for that. And yes, it was definitely an instant classic tonight in Moon Township, but now we're going to move it over to the men's side again. Brandon Stone is finally carving out his role on the men's basketball team after an injury-riddled start to the season. Samuel Goldberg had the chance to sit down with the center to talk about his season thus far.
So far with this season, with adversity, with players leaving, the injury that you dealt with, how have you dealt with all that adversity so far throughout the course of this season?
Coach Toole says it all the time, like, we just got to work harder. Nothing comes easy, especially in this league. It's a big-time league, so we just got to keep going hard and keep trying to get better every day.
With going through that stretch with your injury, not seeing the basketball court, how much did that affect you mentally to not be able to play basketball?
It definitely affected me. I was getting a little depressed. I was upset all the time, just being there watching my teammates play and not being able to help them. And then after transferring, I had to sit out, so it's been even longer since I was able to play. So that was a little rough on me. My family and stuff just kind of kept my head in it, just kept me focused on working so I can get back.
So kind of looking at your stats from LaSalle to Robert Morris, there's definitely been a nice little increase. I've seen increased playing time from 10 minutes from your 2019-2020 season to now almost 13 minutes per game. How have you seen the opportunity unfold itself for you here at Robert Morris?
Really, it's just I've tried to do the right things. Try to better my practice habits, my game habits. Just develop my game overall. So I think that's been a big help for me and led to my increased playing time.
I know there's 10 guys on the team at the moment. Kind of go into depth about what you're trying to do to catch the attention of Coach Toole to kind of get into that starting lineup, because I know as a stretch player that helps stretch the floor a lot. So when I go into depth about what you're doing in practice and stuff like that to kind of help better yourself to kind of get that starting role.
The main thing I've been focusing on is just being more aggressive, going to the glass. I haven't been a really good rebounder in my career yet, and I know I can do better. So I just try to be a little more aggressive and, help get extra possessions for my team.
Gotcha. And one statistic that I've seen an increase in is kind of your defensive game has improved a lot from LaSalle to here. Can you kind of go into depth on how you're able to improve your defense and help out your team a little more?
To be honest, the main thing is, I was, as a freshman, I was 180 pounds guarding dudes in the A-10 that were 270, 280 pounds. So like it was a little difficult for me to like hold my ground. But like I've put on some weight and I've gotten stronger. So I think that's been a main thing that's helped me defensively, and really just locking in on like the scout, knowing personnel has really helped me too.
Gotcha. Moving on now. So in conference play, obviously it's been a little bit of a struggle for the team at the moment. You know, with Dunn leaving all of a sudden, and you know a couple of players leaving all of a sudden. But how did it feel to finally get that first conference win against Northern Kentucky?
It felt amazing, to be honest. You know, just seeing everybody, you know, happy and jumping around. Coach Toole came in fired up, throwing water at everybody. Yeah, it was just a good experience. You know, it's something we definitely needed.
Gotcha. Going back onto the adversity too, how has the locker room really come together through all the adversity that's been happening?
You know, we kind of just came together and we just told each other like, you know, we're not going to do it for anybody else, but but us, like the guys that are out there, the guys that are on the court with us every day, putting in work. We just want to, you know, try to make the right plays and do everything for our teammates.
Thank you, Sam and Brandon. Now, speaking of the men's team, let's take a look at the Horizon League standings so far this year. And it really just hasn't been the Colonials' year. Another disappointing year. You see Oakland all the way up, 7-0 in the conference, and the Colonials are 1-7 this year. Just definitely hasn't been the year, Tyler.
Yeah, Colby, they're 1-7, but they could very well be 3-5 right now. They lost by 1 to Cleveland State. They lost by 2 to Wright State. It really just, it's been a rough go of things, and these close games are going to be wearing on this team. But like we said, once they get those bounces to go their way like that happened in Northern Kentucky, they can finally get their wins out of the way, as they have a pretty interesting two-game stretch this weekend as they go to Purdue, Fort Wayne, and Cleveland. But when we come back, we've got more, so stay tuned here on Colonial Sports Center.
Bring it.
Time out, guys. I'm late to dinner. My mom's gonna kill me. Catch you guys later.
Mom wants us home. Okay. Bye, guys.
You guys need a ride?
Sure. Yeah. All right. How about some one-on-one?
I gotta go eat, man. Sorry, I'll see you later.
Before we celebrate the freedom most Americans have, we must fight for the freedom all Americans deserve. Because all lives can't matter until Black lives matter.
Now, welcome back to Colonial Sports Center. In May, the men's and women's hockey team was discontinued here at Robert Morris. But on December 17th, it was announced the teams will be coming back in 2023. Now, let's take a look at what President Chris Howard said about this happening.
We saw firsthand this summer the passion and enthusiasm of the hockey community in Pittsburgh and indeed around the country. And we wanted to give these fans of RMU hockey every opportunity to bring our NCAA programs back. They rose to the occasion, ladies and gentlemen. We are gratified by the support of our students, their families, our alumni, and the entire Pittsburgh region. Thanks to all of you, we are confident that our teams will come back stronger than ever. This is, however, the beginning of a journey, not the end. I want to stress that. This is the beginning of a journey, not the end. Now we will all work together to ensure the continued success of these programs.
The reinstatement of the men's and women's hockey programs would not have been possible without the alumni, the donors, and the hockey community uniting around this common cause. I'd like to specifically acknowledge Coach Cooley, who's in Phoenix today and on Zoom, Brianne McLaughlin-Biddle, TJ Brown, our Associate AD for Development, and then members of our Pittsburgh College Hockey Foundation for their dedication in spearheading the campaign to bring these programs back.
It definitely was a whirlwind summer and into winter for the men's and women's hockey programs as they fought their way back for reinstatement. But we'll take a look at the timeline for these programs and what happened to make this come to fruition. Off pretty early, as you may know, blindsiding both the campus community and the players, RMU hockey was discontinued on May 26th. Then you move it forward for these two programs. On May 31st, Kevin Colbert, GM of the Steelers, stepped down from the RMU Board of Trustees. He's facing backlash from this. That's why he stepped down. And then Chris Howard and Chris King both spoke publicly for the first time on June 1st. For the first time since, and there were still a lot of answers to be said for this team.
That's right, Tyler. Then on June 28th, RMU players hired Jeffrey Kessler to represent them in this situation. On July 14th, RMU partners with PGA Pittsburgh College Hockey Foundation to continue to try to bring the teams back. And then on August 12th, RMU announced the teams will not play in 2021 or 2022.
Then the third string of the timeline is the really positive part, is when Derek Schooley was named head coach and director of hockey operations for both teams, tasked with rebuilding both these squads like he did with men's hockey when it first was made in the 90s. And then, of course, the Celebrity Hockey Faceoff, which drummed up a lot of business for these programs. And then, of course, the programs were announced that they were going to be returning on December 17th in the 2023-2024 season. Really important for both of these teams to come back.
Definitely a positive note, Tyler, that the teams will be coming back. But sticking with the sport with sticks and nets, the men's lacrosse team is moving to a new conference, the ASUN. Now, let's see what the preseason poll looked like for this new conference. And up there's Air Force and Utah. Then you see Robert Morris, a couple votes there. They went 7-6 last year, Bellamy, Detroit Mercy, and Cleveland State. Some Horizon League foes at the bottom there, but the Colonials are in for a big year. And also, a former foe as the Utah Utes head coach, Brandon McMahon, left the program this year.
That's right, Andrew McMahon, the head coach of Utah, that is. But, you know, with finishing third place in the preseason poll, there's got to be some awards that players win. And, of course, one big player on the team won ASUN Preseason Player of the Year. And that's CORSON HEALEY, who's going to be guiding the ship of this program with the departure of Ryan Smith. Now, his 52 goals in that 2019-20 season are second in RMU Annals single-season history. This is a guy that's going to be very important for the success of this team, and he's the lifeblood of this team. As they've always been talented, but without guys like Ryan Smith and CORSON HEALEY, you don't know where they're going to be. And, again, you know, CORSON HEALEY, very talented player and a guy that's going to lead this team going forward. When we come back, we have our games to watch and some more. So stay tuned and stick around here on Colonial Sports Center.
I don't remember how it started.
Go to that.
Our back and forth. It always came back.
Dad!
You probably don't remember what you told me.
That was perfect.
But I heard every word.
There's so many rewards in life. You coming into our home was one of the greatest rewards we could have ever had.
You know, it took 20 years and I got my third child who was 17 at the time.
It's so cool to watch the adult that you've become, and you really have done as much for us as you think we've done for you.
Most of my family, they never graduated high school or even let alone go to college, so I'm trying to break that barrier. Every day after work, went straight to school, studied hard, and it paid off. I could not have done it alone. I see the future is really bright for me. The high school diploma is just added to the confidence, and now I feel unstoppable.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Welcome back to Colonial Sports Center. On Saturday, the track and field team took a trip up to Happy Valley, Pennsylvania to compete in the NITTANY Line Challenge. Let's see how the team fared in that. And we saw Yessi Valencia fourth in weight throw with a throw of 17.27 meters. Katura Hunter sixth. Reina Tadero eighth in triple jump. Estelle Katene 11th in shot put. Maisie Fry 12th in shot put. And Lauren Chippel 12th in long jump. Now, if you want to stay up to date on everything Colonial Sports, and there's a little piece by Nathan Brysinger on Katura Hunter, then check out colonialsportsnetwork.com. The writers over there will have you covered everything going down here at RMU.
And while the football team season ended months ago, a couple of players were in the news recently as they were both invited to bowl games. That's right. Miles Hayes and Taven Harville were both invited to bowl games, and Taven Harville declared for the NFL draft. These two guys were just defensive anchors for the team over this season. I mean, 45 tackles, 28 solo for Miles Hayes, who transferred from the College of William & Mary. And Taven Harville, been here for the past couple of years, transferred from Eastern Michigan, is a guy that's going to, hopefully try to stick on a roster as he declares for the draft. As well as that, tight end Marcus Adamiola also declared for the NFL draft, transferred from Bucknell, a guy that was really, really active on the offense. These two guys, really important for this team, like you see, two of the defensive captains, if you will, for this squad, as they both, move on into bigger and brighter things, Colby.
Definitely, in my short time at RMU, we didn't really see a lot of success here at football. 0-3 freshman year, but they were competing in the Big South this year. Taven Harville, great player. Definitely, if any team gets him, they'd be lucky to have him on their roster.
And you know what? This shows the culture change and the culture shift that has really been brought along during the Bernard Clark era. Yeah, while the wins are maybe not stacking up like you could have seen, this would not have happened during the John Banaszak era, who I believe went 6-52 during his time here. Not really exactly what would have happened. But these guys, very talented and getting some big-name transfers too. Like we saw Joe Casale, linebacker from Albany, and then Will Bunton, another linebacker from VMI. Two guys that are going to anchor this defense going forward, hopefully.
Definitely Bernard Clark looking to build up his defense. linebacker. He played in the NFL a little bit. Definitely what his strong suit is.
That's right. So, the Big South as well. You talked about the CSM. We had a great opinion piece by Michael Deemer go up recently about how the Big South is running out of big fish to fry. That's right. Monmouth, Kennesaw State, North Alabama, and Hampton are all departing the conference, leaving it wide open and only 5 teams left in it. So what do you think happens with this conference going forward, Colby?
So there are two things I can see happen. Either one is kind of like how the Big East up in the Power 5 conferences kind of just disbanded when Pitt, Louisville, and Syracuse all left. Or you could see like RMU move to another conference, maybe a little closer east than a very southern conference, let's face it, but it's definitely an interesting time to be a Colonial football fan.
That's right. Now, we're talking about a sport that isn't playing right now, but let's bring it back to sports that are playing right now. Colby, what is your game to watch this week?
My game to watch is something we saw tonight. It's the rematch of Youngstown State RMU women's basketball. What a game that we had today. Megan Callahan, who's my player to watch for the Penguins, hit the game-winning shot. It's Saturday, 1 p.m. in Youngstown, Ohio. Last time Youngstown State won today. Sol Castro looking to pick up. She's had a down year compared to last year, but 9.3 points a game, 1.2 assists, 5.2 rebounds. And Megan Callahan, as I said earlier, about 8 points a game, 1.5 rebounds, or 1.5 assists, and 1.8 rebounds. Definitely a game I think could be another close one, like Ethan was saying, and just something that I've definitely enjoyed seeing.
That's right, and after these teams were at home for so long, they're going on the road again, and I'm going to stick with men's basketball, and they're heading to Cleveland State on Sunday. Now, my players to watch are Khalil Spear and Demoy Hodge. Both of those two guys are leaders in their own right. But let's take a look at Michael Green III, averaging 16.3 points over his last 3 games, and Torrey Patton, 14 points over his last 4. There's some guys that can hit on either angles. Khalil Spear, we saw with that in the just flamboyant dunk against Northern Kentucky. Demoy Hodge had a pretty good game against RMU recently. Again, it's Sunday at the Wolstein Center in Cleveland. We'll be there. CSN will be there, and we'll also be in Youngstown on Saturday, Colby.
That's right, against the former Horizon League champs. Cleveland State won it last year. Definitely a big game. Khalil Spear, he's been kind of the anchor. The only thing that's really been a bright spot in a very dark season for the men's basketball team. They've been in a lot of games all year, but just haven't bounced their way.
Oh, yeah, and he's definitely an electric factory out there. We see him getting hyped up, raising the roof with his celebration. A guy that is definitely, like I said with CORSON Keeley, the lifeblood of the squad. Well, they've got guys that are coming into their own and finally finding their consistency, like Michael Green recently. He had that big goose egg against Cleveland State, and then what has he done since then? Responded with some of his best basketball of the year.
Definitely, and the women's basketball team in another matchup against their rival, traveling partner in Youngstown State. Sol Castro and the team looking to bounce back. That was a really good game tonight, and Youngstown State #1 in the conference. So to hang with them all night, it's pretty good.
Yeah, 2 of the best defensive teams in the conference as well. It was a defensive battle. We saw a bunch of turnovers, a bunch of forced shots. That's what's going to happen when you have good defensive basketball. They have Youngstown State has one of the best defenders in Maddie Albach in the conference, and then of course we know how good RMU's defense is this year. They had a bunch of players in double digits as well, finding their way onto the score sheet. Esther Castillo has been really important for this squad going forward in her last year, Colby.
I definitely would like to see Mackenzie Mealy and maybe get some more time out there if she could finally hit her shot. And also, don't force it. Work it around. Try and get open shots, because if you're going to force it against a good defensive team, you're going to be screwed all night.
Yeah, that's one thing they've been lacking a little bit is the bench production. We haven't really seen a lot of it. Today we did see it with Natalie Villaflor, but unfortunately that wasn't able to come out on top in that one, and it was a really rough game. Or not a rough game, but a good game. But that's all we have for you tonight here on Colonial Sports Center. For Colby Sherwood, I've been Tyler Gallo. We'll see you next Thursday.